this track has already been covered by many, many bands, including the Polish industrial metal band Die Disease. But we're coming to Australia for this particular cover, and this is why I'm so excited. This is the first time on Coven Of Covers we are having a guest on the show. Now, before we get into it, I'm going to let you know that this cover is stunning. It is gorgeous. It is everything the original track is and more. And we're going to dive into it in just a moment. But without further ado, let's get our guest on in here and we'll chat about the track. So, for this week on Coven of Covers to chat about the cover, we actually have Victoria from Victoria K to chat about Frozen, which I'm so excited about. So, thank you very much for joining us this evening, Victoria.
Well, thank you for having me on. I'm really, really excited to talk about the track and just to be on your show. Thank you so much.
So to start off with, let's just talk about why you were drawn to this track in the first place.
I always loved Madonna. Ever since I was a kid, my parents, or mum more, she really, really loved Madonna as well. And I remember it was during my first tour for our first record, Essentia, and I was talking to one of the other bands that we were touring with, and they were like, you should do a Madonna cover. And I was like, what if we did Frozen? And it kind of just came to be. It was always kind of a gothic song, has a gothic vibe to it. I just think it's just a beautifully written song as well. Everyone likes that song. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's a really well written, well recorded song, and the essence of it is great. So I really wanted to build on that and see how I could, what I could do with it. Also, we'd never done a cover before, so we wanted to do something that we were really into. And everyone likes Madonna. We were all happy with Madonna. So
just worked out. The stars were aligned. It was perfect. So let's have a listen to the song and then we'll come back to break it down and talk about your thought processes and how you've changed it.
You only see what your eyes want to see. How can life be what you want it to be? You're frozen when your heart's not open. be what you want it to be? You're frozen when your heart's not open.
So welcome back to Metal on the Margins. You were just listening to Frozen by Victoria Kay, which is a cover of Madonna's Frozen from the Ray of Light album in 1998. And the original song is actually 6 minutes 12 seconds. Sorry, getting my words mixed up. Long, but this version is only 4 minutes. It's very short compared to the original, which is quite interesting, but the BPM is also slightly faster, and we've got a lower key than the original as well. So they're the point-blank, straight off the bat differences that do attribute to that shortness. So let's have a chat to Victoria and figure out why they may have chosen to do that. So let's talk about the key first and foremost. It's originally in F minor, but you've chosen to do this in E minor.
Yeah.
Why have we gone down a step?
Well, that was a very conscious decision I made. Like obviously, like I'd learnt the song. I play piano, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn this first before I write on it, because that would make sense. I learned it in F, and then I was thinking about it. I was like, this is so good, but it doesn't leave my voice many places to go.
Yes.
And I was like, I want to do something really cool at the end. So that's when I sing the octave higher.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, if I take it down, I can physically do that. So
I had a feeling that was the case. I had a feeling, because it is really quite high when you go up the octave. You're hitting some top E's and whatnot up there, and to belt that as well, that's really difficult. So yeah, it's a for those of you who aren't singers listening in, belting is a type of chest voice technique where you use a lot of power, you use a lot of strength, but it leaves you quite limited in the range that you're able to have, unlike when you reach an operatic tone, which is called a head voice tone, which leaves you more in that soprano range. So in this instance, you wanted to use that stronger tone to bring that strength and pain back into the track, which this track very much is grounded in, which makes so much sense for a metal track. So it makes a hell of a lot of sense why you've done that. And I guess, did you put did the guitars go down to drop E as well, or do they just stay in regular key too?
Oh, I'm not 100. I didn't write all the guitars on this track, so I'm not 100% sure about that. I can't. They might have. Thinking about it, they might have, but I can't 100% be like,
yeah,
yes.
because that breakdown is really quite low for the lead guitar. So my ears are going, that's not normal tuning.
No, it probably is. Like I wrote that breakdown, and I was like, I want to do something super low, because I don't have any breakdowns in my other songs. So I was like, let me just add one in and see what happens. But yeah, with the key, I wanted to belt up there. Like, I am an operatic singer, I'm a classically trained singer, so I could do the classical thing, but I'm like, but I want to belt. So
it doesn't convey the same emotion, right?
It doesn't. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah, it has a completely different tonality to the voice, and I'm classically trained too myself, so
oh my God, amazing. I love this.
And it's quite difficult when you're also on stage as well to keep that operatic tone when you're possibly dancing around, when you're vibing with the crowd, keeping that the breath rate up to keep and support that head voice is quite a challenge. So hats off to you on doing that. And I'm also not surprised you only picked to do it at the end, because it is draining.
It is. And also it adds a different effect, I think. If I did it the whole time, people would get bored of it.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, she's doing it again.
yeah. It adds depth to the track. It adds complexities to it as well. So let's have a chat about the BPM for a second. You've made it a bit faster as well. The original is 106 and yours is about 125. So
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that is exactly correct. Oh my God. Where did you go? Yeah. So I wrote this track really closely with our drummer, James Davies. He wrote the drum parts. I did nearly everything else. But he was writing him, he's like, this is really slow. Like, it's got no, like, for a metal track, if we want to make this like a really cool cover, I think it should have, like, a lot of our songs are quite slow and quite dark, but we wanted to, yeah, I don't know, make it more like crossovery, make it a bit more fun. So he was like, he changed the tempo, and he was like, oh, by the way, I changed the tempo. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's what I
it's
came
a
about.
lot more driving, and you've been able to add that really cool ostinato underneath with the guitars and that riff, and bringing that into it has just transformed it from this very down-tempo dance track, which you would hear in, goth clubs essentially, to this hard-hitting track that you can mosh to. You've done a
Yeah,
complete 180, and it's really incredible because the themes that Madonna speaks about in this track and this whole album of Rave of Light is known for being a lot more mature than her previous albums. She had a whole complete change, 180 in her life. It was after she had her child, and so, growing up, essentially.
yeah,
And so this really reflects that as well. Because you've brought in these more complexities to it. You've added that depth that the original track doesn't quite have,
mm.
which is really quite nice.
Oh, thank you. We were like, yeah, we definitely wanted to make it more driving, especially for the drum part. He's like, I can do so much more.
Yeah.
I can make it way more driving, and the breakdown will have more impact at the in the middle section. And I think, yeah, that's really why we wanted to change the tempo, just to, give it more force.
I completely understand. And the last thing I wanted to chat about is the call and response and the backing vocals that you have, which are obviously not in the original. Madonna was not growling. There was no way that there was any growls in the original track. But this has transformed it as well, because you're now having a conversation with the man that Madonna's talking about, in a way.
Yeah,
It's really quite interesting to hear that. It puts the song in a completely different light.
it does. It does. So that's our extreme vocalist, Charlie Kerno. So I wrote the song, and like he's in pretty much all of our tunes, and we were like, hey, do you want to do some stuff in this one too? He's like, yeah, and he wrote the parts himself that he was going to sing.
Nice.
Some of them, like the call and response stuff, he recorded it like as straight vocals underneath mine, and then I went in and I was like, what if we made this a call and response? So we just chopped his vocals and moved them over.
Nice.
Yeah, but
it works really well. It
yeah,
adds a story.
It does.
Yeah, it adds an almost, not necessarily argumentative is not quite the right word, but it adds that dialogue into the conversation and brings it back into reality. Whereas Madonna might be singing that off in her head in the mirror kind of a deal, psyching herself up to confront that man. But in this instance, you're actually confronting the man. Which
Definitely.
Which works with the riff, the fastness. You've then, feels like you're in that midst of the heat of the argument where you've got that adrenaline rush.
Yeah, of course. I think like the way that it's being repeated, it's kind of like confirming what she's saying to him in a way. That's the way I kind of thought about it, especially in that last chorus. It's like I have to work out how to like collect my thoughts. It's kind of like they're both thinking the same things about each other. They can't see past what is actually past their own thoughts into like the reality of their situation. Like the song is like the original song is so ambiguous. It could be about anybody.
Yeah.
It could be about any situation. And like this version could be about anybody, about any situation. It could be about like a toxic relationship, confronting that partner. It could be about like even like a friendship, even like a family member. I think just like leaving it very ambiguous is really cool. So it left us a lot to do. Like we could do a lot with the meaning. So the way I kind of see it is like they both can't get past their own, like their rose-colored glasses type thing. And it's just like an endless cycle, this endless argument that's just going to continue and it's never going to be resolved. So yeah, the call and response kind of adds another layer to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. But it's very realistic because a lot of people find themselves trapped in those sorts of relationships with people where they can't get out of it and until something snaps. And that's when they take off the rose-colored glasses and realize,
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I think it happens way more than what people realize as well. Because people think
100%.
about it. When you're in it, you're stuck in this kind of bubble,
Mm-mm.
very isolated. And it would be like it hard to get out. But I think, yeah, this version would kind of shed light on what that feels like in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So I hope this anyone listening in tonight is having a realization and getting out of that situation. Um,
Definitely, yeah.
but this has been really interesting to talk about. This has been a very deep discussion on this track. It went to different places I didn't think it would go, which is really quite fun and interesting. It's great.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us on Coven of Covers. We've enjoyed this cover and we cannot wait to see what you put out next. And yeah, if you missed any of this chat with Coven of Covers, we'll pop it online to 2ser.com and you can stream Victoria K's single Frozen on Spotify. And where can they find you online?
So on Instagram, you can find us at Victoria K Official. Our website is victoriakmusicofficial.com, and Facebook, you can find us under Victoria K.
Yeah.
So yeah, so keep up to date. We've got some shows coming up too, which would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
So,
You coming to Eora Sydney anytime?
oh, I want to come soon. I really want to come soon. I haven't been to Sydney in ages.
We'd love
Like,
to have you.
okay, well, when I'm coming back, I will let you know.
Definitely. All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, and we'll keep on churning out the batches for everyone tonight. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.